The sun hangs like a hammer over the plains of Normandy, baking the earth until even the wind feels scorched. It is August 17th, 1424, and two massive armies face one another across a desolate field of brittle grass. On one side stands England's last hope in France, 9,000 men, worn by marches and hunger, commanded by a regent still untested in the crucible of large-scale war. Opposing them waits a coalition of 15,000 French, Italians, and Scots, a united host assembled not just to win a battle, but to crush English ambition once and for all. The English are outnumbered nearly 2-1. Their legendary king, Henry V, is dead, and the aura of invincibility forged at Agincourt has faded into doubt. Yet before this merciless sun sinks behind the Norman hills, a carnage so complete will unfold that chroniclers will call it a second Agincourt. But this battle will lack the romance of its predecessor. No chivalric mercy, no ranks of noble captives, only a carefully sprung trap, a failure of technology, and a massacre aimed at extinguishing the pride of Scotland's warrior elite. A low command rolls through the English line. Forward! John of Lancaster, Duke of Bedford, knows hesitation means death. He orders his army to advance across the dusty plain. Archers and men-at-arms move with grim determination, their shadows long under the unforgiving light. Bedford watches, his mind cold and steady. This is more than a confrontation of armies. It is a test of his leadership. If England breaks here, the fragile kingdom carved by his brother Henry collapses overnight. Bedford tightens his grip on his poleaxe and studies the banners across the field. The Red Lion of Scotland flutters defiantly. The Earl of Douglas and the Earl of Buchan wait there, men who once sent Bedford's brother Clarence to a brutal death at Beaujeu. This battle carries the weight of vengeance. Bedford's expression does not betray it, but inside him burns the memory of a brother mutilated and mocked by these very foes. The armies begin to close. Dust thickens in the air as English archers reach the forward line. They unstrap the heavy wooden stakes meant to halt charging cavalry and swing their mauls to drive them in. But the ground, scorched into near stone by the relentless sun, refuses them. The stakes bounce, skid, or tilt uselessly. A flicker of dread runs through the archers, men who know that without their stakes they stand nearly naked before heavy horse. A piercing trumpet blast erupts from the Allied lines. The earth itself shudders as 2,000 Milanese heavy cavalry thunder forward. These are not reckless French knights, but hardened professionals, mercenaries clad in gleaming Italian white armor, horses armored like living battering rams, and lances angled like the teeth of a serrated blade. Their charge is not chaotic, it is meticulously engineered destruction. The English archers, desperate to stop the onslaught, draw their yew-bows and unleash a sky-darkening volley. But the Milanese armor, curved, tempered, and polished, turns the arrows aside with ruthless efficiency. Bodkin points shatter on breastplates, shafts bounce off horsebarding. The dreaded arrow storm that once broke French nobility now collapses into futility, and then the cavalry strikes. The impact is catastrophic. Stakes snap like twigs. Men are hurled aside as armored destriers crash through the ranks. Trampled archers scream beneath hooves. Lances punch through leather and mail with sickening ease. Entire pockets of the English right wing disintegrate. Far behind the line, Captain Young sees the devastation and assumes the battle lost. Panic consumes him. He turns and flees with 500 men, spreading the false belief that Bedford has fallen. The Milanese have accomplished the impossible. They have pierced the English line and exposed the army's vulnerable rear. One coordinated turn could end English resistance in moments. But greed, not strategy, guides mercenary hearts. Spotting the English baggage train glittering with silver, coin, and treasure, they abandon their advantage. Screaming toward the wagons, they carve down helpless pages and begin looting with frenzied greed. As the dust settles, a surprising truth emerges. Though the line is breached, Bedford's corps of men-at-arms stands unbroken. Bloodied but resolute, they brace for the French infantry. The clash is immediate and brutal. Knights and foot soldiers collide in a suffocating crush where visibility is a blur of steel and dust. There is no room for elegance, only survival through strength, endurance, and ruthless will. Inside baking helmets, men gasp for air as they shove, grapple, and stab in the red haze. Bedford himself stands in the front rank, swinging his massive poleaxe like a machine powered by wrath. Chronicles claim he struck down every man within reach. His presence, silent, relentless, deadly, becomes the anchor of the English line. While others falter, he fights with the fury of a man determined to rewrite the fate of kingdoms. On the English right, the French falter. Their cavalry is gone, their momentum shattered. Under English pressure, they panic and flee toward the moat of Verneuil. Many drown in the stagnant waters as pole axes mow them down. But on the left, where Scotland's finest warriors clash with Salisbury's men, the story is reversed. The Scots, driven by national pride and ancient resentment, press forward with unwavering determination. Their heavy armor glints beneath the dust, their long spears punch into English shields. Slowly, inch by inch, they force Salisbury's line backward. If they break through, the entire English army may be crushed. The fate of nations hangs in the balance. Bedford sees the danger and makes a choice few commanders would dare. He halts his victorious soldiers, refusing to chase fleeing French nobles or gather rich ransoms. Instead, he forces his men back into formation amid the chaos, wheels them sharply, and marches directly toward the exposed flank of the Scottish army. In that moment, he abandons wealth for strategy, vengeance, and survival. From the rear, a miracle emerges. Archers who are scattered by the Milanese regroup, their faces smeared with dust and fury. They see the Italian mercenaries looting, see the Scots rear unprotected, and without hesitation, race forward. Though depleted, they carry the one thing the Scots lack: range and timing. The trap snaps shut. Salisbury holds the front, Bedford slams into the flank, and the rallied archers close the rear. The Scots freeze as they realize they are surrounded. Their French allies have fled. The Milanese have betrayed them. And now they stand alone in a tightening ring of English steel. A chilling chant rises from thousands of English throats. "A Clarence! A Clarence!" It is the name of Bedford's slain brother. The cry signals that mercy is abolished. A wave of dread sweeps through the Scots as they understand the meaning. Today, no ransom will save them. No noble name will shield them. No prisoner will be spared. The Scots form desperate schiltrons, dense walls of spears pointed outward, but trapped and packed too tightly, they cannot maneuver. English men-at-arms thrust into the mass, pulling warriors down and stabbing into armor gaps. Douglas, the Iron Man of Scotland, dies in the crush. His son falls beside him. Buchan, victor of Beaujais, is surrounded and cut down. Sir Alexander Buchanan, who once paraded Clarence's coronet, is recognized and struck down instantly. As the sun sinks, silence settles over a battlefield carpeted with the dead. English soldiers walk through the bodies, finishing the wounded. When the Milanese return with saddlebags heavy with silver, expecting triumph, they instead find annihilation. The French are gone, the Scots erased, and the English stand blood-soaked but unbroken. The mercenaries turn and vanish into the gathering twilight. 6,000 men lie dead upon that hard, sun-blasted ground. Scotland's army, its nobility, its leadership, its pride, is obliterated. England has lost around 1,000, but its kingdom is saved. Bedford stands in the carnage, having won not only a battle, but a legacy. Though overshadowed by Agincourt and Joan of Arc, Verneuil remains a turning point. The day discipline eclipsed chaos, the longbow failed, and an alliance centuries old died beneath a merciless Norman sun. History is shaped not only by kings, but by the soldiers who refused to break. At Verneuil, that refusal changed Europe. If you enjoyed this deep dive into forgotten history, share, and subscribe to bring more lost battles, hidden stories, and untold moments back into the light.